I come to open the rear door. I unlock with the remote. You see, the interior locking knob goes up a little bit. But what if I open the door? Well, it's still closed. I lock again. The knob goes back down a little bit. On this car, the central locking works on all other doors except this one. To repair this on this Renault Clio 2, it doesn't cost much. The procedure just consists of replacing a small actuator like that. You can even try to fix whatever actuator you have, that can work too. But I will replace it with this one, which is new. So it must be several years since I bought this actuator and left it lying around like this. Well, it's today that I'll replace it, and I'll show you that now. Hi all, come on, to open the door I'm going to redo one last time the gesture that I have made 10,000 times for years. The actuator is located in the door lock mechanism here. To access it, you must first remove the door trim. I start by removing 2 screws that hold the trim. There's one here in the middle of the opening handle, and another here at the bottom of the closing handle. First screw. The opening handle moves, but it is still held by the rod behind it. And the second screw, it is at the bottom of the closing handle. So normally there is a small plastic cover that you first remove with a very small flat screwdriver. But there on this car, this cover is no longer there, so be careful. This screw is not the same as the other. It is smaller. I remove the closing handle. And do you see, the screw is inserted in this plastic part there. Then I remove the opening handle. There is just the rod to disengage. That's it, that's all. Now I have to remove the window crank handle. I just have to pull it quite simply. Then the door trim is still held by the speaker screws. The speaker cover can be removed just by turning it counterclockwise. I turn and I pull, and around the speaker there are still the 4 screws to remove. Here is, please note that this is another screw model that is different from the others, and then I remove the electrical connector. Now all you have to do is to pull out door trim. It is still held by 4 plastic staples and sealant. I advise you to do this starting from the top and using plastic tools like this. With this you will not damage the plastics or the paint. For the staples I do like this. Clack. So to remove the sealant, I take a cutter, it goes much faster. I check that all the staples are in place. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here I will show you it's easier to see like this. I use the plastic tool like this, clack. Here the door trim is removed. The lock is located here, and to remove it, well, I have to remove this black plastic cover there. It's pinched in 2 places, here and here. I use a small flat pliers and do not do like me. First remove the 2 rods from the door. The rods can be removed just by pulling on them. Here is the cover. And the same with the locking knob rod, just pull here and here. Now the lock is still held by 3 Torx screws. There you have it. The lock is released, but it still holds in one place. And yes, there is a rod between the lock and the exterior door handle. It is held with the yellow fastener. You just have to remove the small clip from this fastener. So I'm sorry, but I can't film this. Yes, I know this is what I deserve. There, the clip of the fastener is dislocated. And there, the rod is removed from the lock. And now the lock can come out of the door. You just have to remove the electrical connection. I disconnect the lock, pinch and pull. And here is the lock. Here we recognize the actuator as new at the beginning of the video, and that's what I'm going to replace. The actuator, there, it is fixed by a single screw which is on the other side. There, I remove the screw, and I release the ring from the actuator with a small flat screwdriver. So be careful, the reassembly will be done differently, and I'll show you that later in the video. I unclipped the white plastic part here. This plastic is quite flexible and twists easily. And the actuator comes out. So this actuator, you can open it up and clean it up if you want, but I'm going to put a new one back together. And I'll show you how to put it all back on the lock. To refit the actuator on the lock, there is a small lug there which goes in the hole there. And to refit of the actuator ring there, be careful, there are small tabs on either side of the ring here. So, to properly secure the actuator ring, I release the flexible white plastic a little more. Quite simply because the ring of the actuator has to come in front of the slot here. The slot allows the small tab to pass well. And then I can turn the actuator, and there the ring holds and does not come off. I can put the white plastic cover back there. And also on the other side if he ever got dislocated. And I just have to screw the actuator. Done, and there you go, the lock is ready. I'm going to put it all back on the car. I start by reconnecting the electrical connector, and at this step, you can already test that it works. In one direction. Then in the other, that's it. So for easier reassembly, I will grab the rod that is attached to the exterior door handle. I just have to disengage it and push it towards the back of the door, and I'm sorry I don't have more pictures than that. Here is the rod. I refit it on the lock. I put it in the hole of the yellow fastener, and I close the clip. There, the rod is well refitted. It will then be refitted onto the exterior door handle. I put the lock in the door. And I tighten the 3 screws. Now I have to reattach the rod there on the exterior door handle. I pull the rod towards the front of the door. Click. I show you what it looks like with a mirror. There is a U-shaped fastener, and the U opening is towards the rear of the door, so the rod is refitted by pulling it towards the front of the door. So before continuing, I test anyway that the exterior handle is working well. There, it is good, it works. I can therefore continue to refit. So yes, there you can see that I have refitted the 2 rods there. Just to do this test, I tighten the 3 screws of the lock a little. And then I refit the black plastic cover, and for that I remove the 2 rods on the door. I clip it down and up. Done. I refit the rods on the door. And then I can begin to refit the door trim. I route the speaker cable well and the locking knob at the top. So to avoid sealing problems, you can add silicone gasket where the original sealing putty left. Now I am refitting the speaker that holds the bottom of the door trim. I reconnect it and I put the 4 screws back. And the cover. I push and I turn. That's it. And I push around the door to reclip the staples. Then I reattach the window crank handle. You just have to push it, that's it. I check that it works, it's good. I refit the opening handle. I just pass the rod and put the screw back. And then I refit the closing handle with its screw at the bottom. And now I will test if it works. I first check that I can open the door from the inside anyway. There, it is good, and now I am testing the central lock. I lock the car. The knob goes down correctly, and the door is securely closed. I unlock, the knob goes up to the top, and the door opens. Operation completed. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video and will allow you to see more clearly before you start the operation. If so, please share this video, add a comment or a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss the next videos, subscribe to the channel and see you soon on Enjoy Wheels.